I found it very interesting, and there was parts that I did not know and were not aware of. And D'Lo kind of said it best, where you only believe what you see, right? So that was more like the nut of the story for me. I just
Mhm.
really wish they'd have got Dixie on there to show and tell her story.
Mhm.
Um, and what that leads me to believe is that she was obviously asked, she turned it down, and there's a reason. So I tend to go with the way that the story's been told, and
Mhm.
it's really interesting. And I think that I witnessed firsthand Dixie getting an ego stroke firsthand. Something I was told was that there was a President's Day, is what they call it, like we have here in the States. Jimmy, I don't know if you have that or not, but we have a President's Day. And she literally thought that making dolls for her for President's Day and putting them on TNAShopZone.com would have done well, if that tells you anything. Um, Tonight, as we're taping, or we're not, we're taping, we're live, but for the audio version, tonight's episode is going to be very interesting because this is going to be where the Bischoff Hogan hire seems to be not what it was cracked up to be, and where she absolutely knows nothing about wrestling. And it's going to be very
Mhm.
interesting.
I found it interesting because obviously you were there, so you would know more about the goings on than I would because I heard everything. You know what I mean, second and third hand. So uh, it's it's the old adage: telephone, telegram, tell a wrestler, yeah, whatever. But I found a lot of it very, very interesting. I know, knowing Jeff, I know how passionate he was.
Mm-hmm.
So passionate about it. So I like to look at it this way. If this makes a good analogy, it's kind of like when you watch these things, you want to believe the person you know very well, and the other people you're kind of like, because D'Lo I know well, Jeff I know well, all that, and then there's others that, like you said, like Dixie, who I do not know, that decide to decline being a part of this. So now it's kind of, for me, it's like a court case. You know what I mean? I'm part of the jury. You have the prosecution and you have the defense. Both are giving their side, and I have to decide based on the evidence who's telling the truth, basically. And the unfortunate thing is, in every situation, the truth is always somewhere in between. So we're not getting that other side. Do you know what I mean?
No, we're not.
I'm not saying that the whoever was talking on, all the people that were talking on the dark side of the ring were fudging numbers or anything like that. That is their truth. They're speaking their truth, but sometimes others see the truth differently. And I would have just been like to see that different side. That's all.
Jimmy. When I go back to my TNA days, it's really interesting watching it because you don't know until you see something like this, and you're like, oh wow. You hear there was obviously a lot that I knew about that they talked about, but there were some things that were just like, oh really?